Alright, welcome Strength and Speed. I actually just walked out to the car. Yesterday I did a pull, and this happened last year as well, but when it gets cold, if you get on the gas pretty hard and do a pull, usually at higher speeds, but it's happened to me at lower speeds, the check engine light will come on. It'll start flashing. It'll flash for, I don't know, 5 seconds or so, and then sometimes it'll go off. Sometimes it'll stay on. You can delete the code. You'll be fine for the whole duration as long as you never get on it. If you do get on it, then it'll pop up. The code that pops up is a cylinder 5 misfire. If you look on forums and so forth, I found this last year also. APR tunes have an issue with that due to a spark plug gap. And it always pulls up a cylinder 5. So what I'm going to do today, we're actually about to go to a car meet, so I'm going to try to do this now. If not, stay tuned and I will get it fixed later here. But we're going to go ahead and see what we can get to today, because cylinder 5 is actually right here. Alright, so welcome back. We're on day 2. We went ahead and did the drive, and which was a fun day for me. Good to get out even though it was freezing. Face was actually so numb. Got back in the car for almost 10 minutes and still my face was still numb. So but it was a good day to get out and be around all the other car people. Some surprisingly decent cars did show up, which was fun and cool. But after that, we decided to come home and just enjoy the rest of our day with the family, and kind of relax. So now we're back. I've got the hood open, just got the top pulled off. I've got the tools I think I need. I'm not sure what spark plug I'm gonna need. I think it's gonna be a 16 millimeter. So I've got that. I've got my starter tool up there and just some basic stuff that I'm gonna need. So we're gonna dive in. We're gonna start pulling all of this off, and we're gonna get under there to our coil packs and then our spark plugs for that. So once again, just to reiterate, I have an APR stage 1 tune. If you look on any forums or anything that's out there, you'll see that there is a common problem that says cylinder 5 misfire, and that is from being a stage 1 tune. Assuming more or less because the timing is off at this point, they do recommend to go with colder plugs. But after thorough investigation, reading through, there's a lot of people that say just use the standard spark plugs, that they're not as reactive, that the colder plugs aren't as reactive, so you'll actually get a slower quarter-mile time. So I'm going to try to see if I can just adjust the stock spark plugs before I go and buy other ones and just go from there. So we'll pull it apart. We'll do that. We'll fire it up. We'll probably take it for a drive, see if we can get that check engine light to go off. So pull these hoses off here. There's actually sensors that come up. They have little gray clips on them. Not sure if you can see those, but you pull this clip up and then you actually just pinch it down there and you pull it off. So these clips move out and then you pinch down to pull them out, and they release. They're pretty easy to do that, but there should be a few sensors along the way. And there's also, not sure how well this camera is going to get down in there, but down in there, right back in there, and that way you're going to see some star keys that we're going to need so to remove, so we can remove all of this and get to our coil packs. So we'll get all the stuff that I think I need out of the way here first. We'll go ahead and plug all that stuff, start unscrewing that, and get to where we are. If I need to take some more stuff off, I will. I'm just kind of going by eyesight right now. Okay, so what I did was I just regapped the spark plug. It was way too big. It needs to be 0.22 or 0.24 or 0.022, 0.024, etc. So what I did was I just stuck this in here, smashed it against the ground a few times lightly until I got the gap closed, and then I just took the tool here and I just regapped it to the correct parameters. Now we're gonna put it all back together and see what happens. Alright, car is all together. It sounds normal. It's driving normal. I haven't tried to get on it yet to see if it's as responsive or if anything else is different. As you can see, check engine light is still on, but I'm gonna drive here, get some miles on the car, see if that automatically goes off, which it should if it is fixed. If not, we will have to go back to the drawing board and see what the issues are. One of the other things that popped up, and I don't know if any other Audi owners out there, but that is my suspension light. And what that does, and has been doing, it did it last year also, is it'll go off and on through the cold weather. And I think just the viscosity of the liquid that runs through it is kind of just freezing up, and it's not moving freely, so it's causing the sensor to throw a code. But that thing will go off and on. As soon as the weather gets warm, it goes away and never comes back. So it only pops up for that. So I'm gonna go ahead and leave that alone. I've had it checked out several times. Doesn't do anything drivability to the car. That's the same exact thing the check engine light does for the APR tune, is it'll go off all winter long, but once the weather gets warm, it'll go back. So just to reiterate, what I did was I pulled that cylinder 5 plug, which is the closest one to us on the driver's side. I pulled that, I re-gapped it at 0.024, and it says it's recommended, give or take 0.002 difference, plus or minus, so it can be 0.022 or 0.026, somewhere right around there is the recommended gap for that spark plug. So we'll drive around, see what happens, and I'll let you know if that does indeed fix the problem. All right, here we are back in the car again, and I'm just gonna go over what kind of happened, as we already kind of discussed when I changed the spark plug gap. And I showed you that I had the suspension light was on, and then of course you saw the engine light for the cylinder 5 Misfire. So what actually ended up happening was I deleted the code for the engine light, as you can see is not on there, and I actually deleted that 6 days ago, and it has not returned. And the suspension light itself went off on its own. I've had that issue the last couple years. I think the viscosity of the oils that are in there get cold in the winter time, because it only happens in the winter. And what actually happens from that, it doesn't affect the drivability of the car. From my standards, it feels exactly the same. But when I'm trying to turn off traction control and things like that, because there is a code, it restricts the ability to do that. And sometimes it takes, or it's taking weeks, if not a month, for me to be able to get the option to turn that back on. At this point in time, it came back on instantly after it went off. I think it took about a day or so for me to cycle a couple times of the engine turning off and on, and then it was fine. So now what we're here doing in the car is, after the light has been off for a week, we are going to let the light warm up, or the car warm up, sorry. And once we let the car warm up, we're going to do a couple pulls, and we're going to test and really see if we fix that problem for you guys or not. As I said before, there's a lot of issues going on with people that have APR tunes, specifically stage 1, and the issues of swapping coils, swapping different spark plugs, and all of that doesn't necessarily always work. So we're kind of running some tests, see if we can figure it out on our own, and we'll know here shortly. Okay, you're gonna have to face it over here. Okay. Okay, so we got traction off, and we're gonna get on it. Okay, so obviously not doing this for speed. I just want to kind of get on it, do a rolling pull, and see if the light would come on. We didn't have any issues. One, the check engine light would have started flickering, is what's been happening for that, and it hasn't. So I'm gonna try one more pull now and kind of just see. I'm gonna do it manual, so we're gonna drop this down a little. I'd say it's doing pretty good. I haven't had any issues, manual or sport. So, like I said, it's been a week. I haven't really been getting on it. There's no need. I don't drive like that every day. I'll do a pull or two here or there for some content or whatever when I'm in a safe environment, away from a bunch of vehicles or people or things like that, and I'm out of the way. But yeah, I mean, you just saw us do a couple different pulls and we didn't have any issues whatsoever. So I think just making sure that the spark plugs are gapped correctly, which recommended is 0.022 all the way to 0.026. So in that range, so 2.4, 2.6, somewhere around there, was more of a recommended APR spec. I have the M series of the spark plugs that come stock on the Rs7. The older ones didn't have the M logo on them, and it seems to be working just fine. I did a lot of research on doing colder plugs and so on and so forth, but people had issues with performance out of them. They didn't get the same quarter-mile times or half-mile times, whatever they were running at that point. So I decided to just experiment. Obviously, the cheapest option, what's already in there, and since other people were agreeing that we didn't need to take any further steps and pay for, you know, $35 a plug to try this. So hopefully, you know, you guys find help and experience in regapping your plugs, and it solves your issues, and hopefully this was a helpful video.